Jason and Clara's life had never been more peaceful. Their daughter Amanda had just turned 1, and their days were filled with soft laughter, warm hugs, and quiet evenings in the garden. Clara often sat with Amanda on her lap, while Jason read stories or played gentle melodies on the piano, his rees. But Melissa stood outside the charity event venue, hidden behind the crowd. She had changed. Her once lavish lifestyle was gone, and her eyes no longer sparkled with confidence, but rather with something else, envy. When she saw Jason smile and kiss Clara's forehead as they took the stage, something twisted inside. He was mine, Melissa whispered under her breath. That should have been. The next day, she walked into Jason's office without warning. His secretary tried to stop her, but Jason, surprised, allowed her in. "Melissa," he said, standing. "What are you doing here?" She smiled softly, too softly. "Jason, I know I'm probably the last person you want to see. I wanted to say I'm sorry. For everything." Jason's eyes narrowed slightly, unsure. "You said everything you needed to say the day you walked away." "I know," she said, eyes glistening. "And I was wrong. I lost the best man I ever had. I don't want to come between you and Clara. I just want to be your friend. Can't we at least talk sometimes?" Jason was silent for a moment. "I've moved on, Melissa. My life is with Clara now." Melissa lowered her head, then nodded. "Of course, I understand." But as she walked out of his office, a faint smirk crossed her lips. It had been over a year since Clara gave birth to Amanda. Life in Jason's home was calm and filled with joy. Amanda was now walking and babbling, her laughter echoing through the hallways. Jason and Clara had settled into a beautiful rhythm. He went to work during the day, and in the evenings they spent time together as a family, sharing quiet dinners and playing with their daughter in the garden. Clara had never felt more loved. Jason was kind, attentive, and always made time for her. He supported her in everything and made sure she never felt alone. He would often surprise her with little gifts or take her out for dinner just to see her smile. But far away, someone else had been watching. Melissa had not forgotten. She had fallen from her high place, and life had not been kind to her. After her mother left with the last of the money, Melissa had tried to rebuild, but it hadn't worked. She had struggled to find work, lived in small apartments, and slowly bitterness grew inside her. One evening, Melissa turned on the television and saw a news segment. It was a charity event hosted by Jason and Clara. They were smiling, standing side by side with Amanda in Clara's arms. Jason looked so happy. Clara looked beautiful and confident. Melissa stared at the screen, frozen. "That should have been me," she whispered. The next morning she got dressed and went to Jason's office. She didn't have an appointment. His secretary tried to stop her, but Melissa insisted. "Tell him it's Melissa, he'll see me." Jason was surprised when she entered. "Melissa, what are you doing here?" he asked, standing up from his desk. She looked different. Her clothes weren't expensive anymore and her face looked tired. But she still smiled. "Jason, I didn't come here to cause trouble. I just wanted to say I'm sorry. For everything." Jason stayed silent. "I know I hurt you, and I know I don't deserve your forgiveness, but I needed to tell you in person. I was foolish. I let the best man in my life walk away. I thought I was choosing freedom, but I ended up with nothing." Jason looked at her for a moment. His voice was calm. "Melissa, I've moved on. My life is with Clara now. She's my wife. We have a daughter. That life we had, it's gone." Melissa nodded slowly, her eyes filled with tears. "I know, I'm not asking for anything. I was hoping we could still be friends, that's all. I don't have anyone left." Jason hesitated. "I don't hold hate in my heart, Melissa. But you should understand, Clara and Amanda are my world now. I won't let anything disturb that." Melissa smiled faintly. "Of course, I understand." But as she left the office and walked down the hallway, her face changed. The soft look faded and a quiet bitterness returned. She whispered to herself, "We'll see about that." A week passed, and Jason tried to forget the visit. He didn't mention it to Clara because he didn't want to worry her. Life at home was still peaceful. Clara was busy with Amanda, and Jason continued his work with focus. But Clara noticed a change. Jason had been more quiet lately. He still smiled and helped with Amanda, but sometimes she would catch him staring off into the distance, as if something was on his mind. She didn't ask, she trusted him, but in her heart, she felt something was different. One afternoon, Clara was at a local market buying groceries when she saw someone familiar walking toward her. Melissa. Clara's heart skipped. She held Amanda's hand tightly and stayed calm. Melissa stopped in front of her with a smile. "Clara, you look good. Amanda's grown so fast. She's beautiful." Clara looked at her, keeping her voice polite. "Thank you. What are you doing here?" Melissa tilted her head slightly. "Oh, just picking up a few things. I've been thinking a lot lately. About the past, about the mistakes I made. I just wanted to say, you're lucky. Jason's a good man." Clara nodded slowly. "Yes, he is." Melissa stepped closer. "Don't worry, Clara. I'm not here to take him back. I just hope we can all move forward. No hard feelings?" Clara gave a small smile, though she wasn't sure what to believe. "I don't hold grudges, Melissa. I just hope you're sincere." Melissa nodded and walked away. But as she turned the corner, she looked back at Clara, her smile fading. Her eyes were sharp. Later that night, Jason came home to find Clara waiting in the living room. She looked up at him as he entered. "Jason, did you see Melissa?" Jason paused. He sat down beside her. "Yes, she came to my office last week. I didn't want to tell you because I didn't want to bring the past into our home." Clara nodded, her voice calm. "I saw her today. At the market." Jason looked surprised. "What did she say?" "Nothing much, just that she wanted peace. But something about the way she looked at me, Jason, I don't think she's here to move on." Jason took Clara's hand. "Clara, no matter what happens, you're my wife. Amanda is our daughter. That won't change." Clara held his hand tightly, but in her heart, she knew this wasn't over yet. The next few days were quiet, but Clara's heart remained unsettled. She tried to shake off the feeling, focusing on Amanda and the home. Jason noticed, and although he reassured her often, there was something neither of them could name. A quiet storm building in the distance. One afternoon, Clara was folding laundry in the bedroom when the housekeeper entered, holding an envelope. "Ma'am, this came for you." Clara took the envelope, her brows furrowed. It had no return address. She opened it slowly and unfolded the paper inside. Her hands trembled as she read the words. "You think he chose you because of love? Ask him what happened 3 months before the wedding. You're just the backup plan." There was no signature, just those cold, calculated lines. Clara sat on the edge of the bed, the paper in her lap. Her thoughts spun. She had always trusted Jason, believed in the love they built. But now, this letter dug at her peace. Was it true? Was there something she didn't know? That night, Jason came home early. He kissed Amanda on the forehead and joined Clara in the kitchen. "How was your day?" he asked. Clara hesitated. Then she reached for the letter and handed it to him without a word. Jason read it, his expression calm at first, then serious. "Where did this come from?" "It was delivered today," Clara said softly. "Jason, I'm not accusing you of anything, but I need to know, was there something I should have known?" Jason looked at her, his eyes clear. "Clara, 3 months before our wedding, Melissa came to me. She cried, begged for a second chance. She said she made a mistake. I told her no. I told her I loved you and that nothing would change that. That's the truth." Clara searched his face, looking for any sign of doubt. But there was none. "Why didn't you tell me?" "Because I thought it was over. I didn't want to ruin the happiness we had. I didn't think she'd still try something after all this time." Clara looked down, her heart heavy. "I believe you, Jason, but I don't think Melissa is done." Jason stood up and walked over to her. "Then we'll face it together. Whatever she tries, we'll be ready." Clara leaned into him, letting herself breathe again. But deep down, she knew the letter was just the beginning. The next morning, Clara sat by the window, watching Amanda play in the garden. The sunlight warmed the room, but her heart felt cold. She couldn't stop thinking about the letter. Melissa's presence, the timing, the hidden bitterness. It all felt like a plan unfolding. Jason had gone to work early. Before leaving, he kissed her cheek and told her again, "I love you. No one can change that." She nodded, smiled, but the words in the letter kept repeating in her head, "You're just the backup plan." Around noon, Clara received a message from an unknown number. "You still trust him? Come to Café Alora at 3 p.m. Come alone. Bring no one. Say nothing." Clara stared at the message. Her hands tightened around her phone. She didn't reply, she didn't retrap, but curiosity and a need for truth pressed on her. At 2:45, she dressed simply, told the housekeeper she'd be out for a while, and left quietly. At Cafe Alora, she spotted Melissa sitting at a corner table by the window. Dressed in a dark green blouse, her hair pinned neatly, Melissa smiled as Clara approached. Clara sat across from her, calm but guarded. Melissa leaned forward. "Thank you for coming. I don't know why I'm here," Clara said. "But say what you need to say." Melissa nodded slowly. "I just wanted you to know the truth, what Jason didn't tell you." Clara didn't respond. Melissa continued, her voice soft but calculated. 3 months before your wedding, Jason didn't just reject me. He came to see me twice. He said he was confused, said he still had feelings. I told him to follow his heart, and he chose you." Clara's chest tightened. "That's not what he told me." "I'm sure it's not, but people lie to protect what they think they might lose." Clara stood up. "Even if that were true, Melissa, he married me. He chose me. I'm not afraid of the past, you are." Melissa's eyes hardened. "You should be." Clara turned and walked away, her heart racing. Her mind swirled with doubt, anger, and pain. Back at home, Jason was already waiting. He looked up as she walked in and saw it on her face. "She found you, didn't she?" Clara nodded. "She said you went to see her before the wedding, that you said you still had feelings." Jason closed his eyes, then walked toward her. "I didn't go to her because I had feelings. I went to make sure she would leave us alone. I wanted to end everything clearly, directly. I told her never to contact me again." Clara's voice shook. "Why didn't you tell me then?" "Because I didn't want to bring poison into our home. I was wrong to keep it from you, and I'm sorry." Clara looked into his eyes, and slowly, she nodded. "We have to be honest with each other, Jason. No matter what." "I will. From now on, no more secrets." They embraced, holding tightly to one another. But Clara knew Melissa wouldn't stop, and next time, it might not be words. It might be something worse. Days passed, and Clara tried to put Melissa's words behind her. Jason was doing his best to reassure her, and their home remained peaceful on the surface. But Clara could still feel it, like a shadow following her. One evening, Clara was helping Amanda with her bath when the housekeeper knocked gently on the bathroom door. "Ma'am, there's someone at the gate. She says she's a friend. Her name is Melissa." Clara's heart dropped. She wrapped Amanda in a towel and quickly handed her to the housekeeper. "Please take her to her room. I'll handle it." She walked to the gate with steady steps. When she arrived, Melissa stood there, holding a small envelope in her hand. "What do you want now?" Clara asked, her voice firm. Melissa smiled, but there was no warmth in it. "I just wanted to return something. A gift I once gave Jason. He left it behind in my apartment before you got married. I thought it was important." Clara didn't move. "Leave it, and don't come back here again." Melissa placed the envelope on the stone wall near the gate. "You're strong, Clara, but even strong women break. I'm just waiting for that moment." Then she turned and walked away. Clara picked up the envelope once Melissa was gone. Inside was an old photo. Jason and Melissa at a beach, smiling. Behind the photo was a handwritten note. "To the man who once called me his future." Clara closed her eyes and drew in a breath. She didn't cry, she didn't panic, but deep down she knew this wasn't just a memory. It was a message, a threat. That night, Jason noticed Clara was quiet. After Amanda had gone to sleep, he found her sitting alone on the balcony. "Clara," he said softly, "what did she do this time?" Clara handed him the photo and note. Jason looked at them, then sighed. "She's trying to shake your trust, but that's all it is, manipulation." "I know," Clara said, her voice calm. "But she's not just playing games anymore. She's testing me." Jason nodded slowly. "Then we won't ignore it. I'll speak to my lawyer tomorrow. If she shows up again, we'll take action." Clara looked at him, searching his face for doubt, but he was steady. "I chose you, Clara, not her. And I'll protect our family, whatever it takes." Clara leaned against him, and for a moment the fear faded. But deep inside she knew. Melissa hadn't come to stir memories. She had come to break something, and if they weren't careful, she just might. The next morning, Jason kept his word. He met with his lawyer and explained everything. Melissa's visits, the notes, and her growing interference. The lawyer listened carefully and nodded. "We can file a formal warning. If she continues, we'll proceed with a restraining order." Jason agreed. "I don't want this escalating. I just want her to stay away from my family." That evening, Clara was playing with Amanda in the garden when Jason returned home. He walked straight to her, kissed her gently on the forehead, and said, It's done. The notice will be sent to her tomorrow. Clara nodded. I just hope she takes it seriously. But Melissa didn't take it seriously. When the letter arrived at her apartment, she read it slowly, then tore it in half and dropped it in the trash. Her pride was wounded, but her obsession had grown stronger. She couldn't let go, not yet. 2 days later, Clara was in the kitchen preparing Amanda's lunch when the housekeeper came running in. Ma'am, there's been an accident at Mr. Jason's office. His assistant just called. Clara's hands froze. What happened? They said someone tried to force their way into his office. Jason wasn't hurt, but it was Melissa. Clara dropped everything and grabbed her phone. Jason answered on the first ring. Jason, are you okay? She asked, breathless. I'm fine, he replied. Melissa showed up screaming in the lobby. Security stopped her. She didn't get in. Clara closed her eyes, relieved, but her heart was pounding. That's not normal anymore, Jason. This is getting dangerous. I know, he said. The police are involved now. She's crossed the line. That night, Jason came home early. He held Clara close and kissed Amanda goodnight. Then he sat with Clara in the living room, both of them quiet for a while. I never imagined she'd go this far, he said softly. Clara looked at him. She doesn't want you back, Jason. She just wants to ruin what you have now. Jason nodded. But she won't. No matter what she does, she won't break us. They held each other tightly, their bond stronger than fear. But deep down, Clara couldn't help but wonder, how much longer would Melissa keep trying? And what would she do next? The next few days were tense. Jason increased security around the house and at his office. Clara no longer went out alone. The calm routine they had built was now surrounded by caution. Even Amanda seemed to sense the change. She clung to her mother more than usual, her innocent eyes watching every movement. Jason hated seeing fear in Clara's face. He tried to smile more, to talk like everything was normal. But he knew deep down that Melissa had already done damage, not to their relationship, but to their peace. One evening, Clara was putting Amanda to sleep when she heard voices outside. She stepped onto the balcony and saw Jason talking to someone at the gate, a woman in a long black coat. Clara's heart stopped. It was Melissa. Clara ran downstairs and opened the front door just in time to hear Jason's voice, calm but firm. You're not allowed here, Melissa. You've been warned. Melissa's voice was low. I needed to see you. Just once. I had to say goodbye. Jason stepped back. You said goodbye a long time ago. This ends now. Clara stood in the doorway, watching. Melissa turned her head slowly and saw her. For a moment, their eyes met. Melissa's face didn't show anger anymore. It was something else. Defeat. You won, Clara, she said. You have everything I threw away. Jason didn't respond. Melissa looked down. I was wrong. About love. About value. I thought I'd always have the upper hand. But I was wrong. She turned and walked away, slowly disappearing into the night. Jason turned to Clara. Are you okay? Clara nodded, stepping outside. That didn't feel like a trick this time. I know, Jason said quietly. Maybe she's finally letting go. They stood there for a while, under the soft evening light. Clara leaned her head on Jason's shoulder. I don't want us to be afraid anymore, she whispered. Jason wrapped his arm around her. We won't be. This is our home, our family. Nothing and no one will ever take that from us again. And for the first time in weeks, Clara believed it. Weeks passed, and slowly, peace returned to their lives. Melissa hadn't shown up again. The restraining order was officially filed, and the police kept a record of her previous behavior. Jason stayed cautious, but even he could feel the weight lifting. Clara no longer looked over her shoulder, and Amanda was smiling more. They started going for walks again, just the three of them. Clara would push Amanda's stroller through the park while Jason held her hand. Sometimes they would stop under the large oak tree near the fountain, where Amanda liked to throw pieces of bread to the birds. One evening after dinner, Jason brought out a small wooden box from his study. He handed it to Clara. What's this? She asked, curious. Something I've been keeping for a while. I was waiting for the right moment. Clara opened the box and found a delicate silver bracelet inside, engraved with the words, for the woman who chose love when others chose pride. Her eyes welled up with tears. Jason, this is beautiful. Jason took her hand. You stood by me when you didn't have to. You endured pain, fear, and doubt, but you never walked away. I want you to know, I see that. I will always see that. Clara smiled through her tears. I didn't choose love for the reward. I chose it because it was real. Jason leaned in and kissed her gently. You are the real gift in my life, Clara. You and Amanda. My forever. Amanda's little laugh echoed from the hallway as she toddled in with her favorite stuffed toy, interrupting the moment with perfect timing. Clara picked her up and held her close. And in that simple moment, in a quiet room filled with love, Jason knew they were finally free. The seasons changed, and with them, so did everything else. Clara sat in the garden, the soft sun warming her skin as Amanda played nearby with her toy blocks. Jason stood at a distance watching his daughter with a quiet smile. It had been 2 years since their wedding, and their lives had settled into a rhythm of peace and love. There were no more surprises, no more letters, no more unexpected visits. Melissa had vanished from their world. No news, no contact, nothing. Whether she had truly let go or simply faded into her own silence, no one knew. But neither Jason nor Clara looked back. Some chapters once closed were never meant to reopen. Jason walked over and sat beside Clara, handing her a warm cup of tea. "Have I told you lately how proud I am of you?" he said softly. Clara smiled, her eyes full of calm. "You show me every day. That's more than enough." Amanda giggled, clapping her hands as a butterfly landed near her foot. Jason watched her, his heart full. "I never thought I'd find peace like this. After everything that happened, I still can't believe how lucky I am." Clara placed her hand over his. "It wasn't luck, Jason. It was choice. You chose to fight for love, and so did I." He leaned in and kissed her cheek. They sat there in the quiet, watching their daughter laugh, surrounded by sunlight and the sound of life moving forward. No more questions, no more fear. Just the soft, certain rhythm of love that had been tested and proven true.